It's the best movies of 2017 with Josh and Ryan on the Mighty Fish Pod. I didn't know how to end it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mighty Fish Podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm Josh.
And we are here today in 2018. 2017's over.
In the future.
We're in the future. Future of yesterday.
The future is now?
Now. But also yesterday.
Yes.
So,
welcome to the world of today.
So, seeing as most of you know, and we've talked about before, January and most of February is usually pretty awful.
Typically. It's where movies go to die.
Yeah. So, there's maybe one thing.
Which makes me nervous about Black Panther.
Yeah. But I thought more about that, by the way, and I was trying to think. There was something else that came out in February. Oh, Lego Batman, I think, came out in February.
Chronicle came out in February.
Yeah, and, Logan was in March, right?
Yeah, it seems, and then, Winter Soldier was
May. But May is the new July.
Well, and then one of the Iron Men came out in March as well, as I recall.
Yeah.
And then Guardians 2 came out in March last year.
Yeah.
So,
But January and February.
Yeah, the first 2 months are...
You might see something good in February, but January is like...
the worst.
Is like limited release movies that got Oscar buzz going to wide release.
Yeah, award bait.
Yeah, and whatever. So what we're doing, since there's nothing
Let's just keep talking about that.
Since there's nothing for us to watch, is we are going to do a roundup of our top 5 favorite movies of 2017.
Favorites and worsts.
And we're also going to do worst. And just to get this short disclaimer out of the way, I'm not going to prattle on. This is based on an incomplete sampling. If something's not on the list that you like, maybe we didn't see it, or maybe we don't care. That's
true.
We're not you.
Yeah.
Again, this is favorites.
Yeah.
And worst in our opinion.
Yes, it's all personal bias.
Yeah, it is, and it's opinion, and we're also going to go through. We're going to quick fire some honorable mentions, just so you know we've seen them.
Yeah,
and we might talk about some things that we haven't seen that we're still looking forward. Like I said, January is kind of the time where limited release movies go to wide release.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think we should just fucking get right into it, Josh.
What do you want to start with? Honorable mentions, bests, or worst?
Let's start with worst, but let's begin first with dishonorable mention, should you have any.
Oh, I did not.
Okay.
That's interesting. I imagine you have some because you grabbed your handy dandy.
I have my Hogwarts official licensed moleskin.
I think it's really nice, by the way.
And
I like that it's actually metal.
Yeah, this is cool. Yeah. And I have some honorable mentions. My honorable mentions, I'm going to point out.
I have honorable mentions. I don't have.
Oh, sorry, my dishonorable mentions. Okay. My dishonorable mentions are in here.
Okay.
I'm going to quick fire through them. The Mummy. We saw The Mummy. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It's not a top 5 worst movie material.
I think that movie had just... the internet got away with that one.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it was the hubris of Universal jump-starting their own cinematic universe based off of that movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it should have been a surprise.
Well, and at the same time, it's getting a bit ridiculous. This whole, we're going to create one whole universe. Like, we discussed the weirdness of having, what's to say that they weren't.
Yeah.
It was just, yeah.
It's true, yeah. Justice League, sort of enjoyed it, but...
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah,
but,
you really like... You did
but
not say you really
not
liked it.
For, yeah.
It's just, I wanted to talk about it, and I don't think an honorable mention warranted it.
No.
So that one's My dishonorable mentions are all actually just okay. So Power Rangers, It was fine for a Power Rangers.
You know what's funny is I forgot that we watched that movie.
Yeah.
I will say that I do understand some of the complaints that it takes them an hour.
Oh yeah.
To put on the suits and do anything. We needed a little bit more of a quicker pace.
Yeah, gross product placement that actually affected the plot of the movie. Some bad performances.
Billy was much more impressive than Jason.
Yeah. Yes. And Kingsman 2, I only bring it up because it wasn't a bad movie, but it was like the first movie in a long time that had sequelitis. Like, it was a terminal case of sequelitis. It was bad. Like, it was bad in hitting almost every sequel trope imaginable. And it was a little disappointing because it looked like they had their hook of having the statesman. And it was like, hey, aren't they cool? Okay, bye.
Yeah.
So there was that. Okay. The rest of my dishonorable mentions are just me explaining in case somebody asks. These are movies that I will never watch based off of their trailers.
Oh.
The Space Between Us. It's like a teen
that
romance.
That one where he goes to Mars.
Where he lives on Mars.
Yeah.
Boss Baby. I'm not watching it. Stop asking. Phoenix Forgotten, found footage, aliens.
Oh, yeah.
It looks bad.
See, I watched Boss Baby.
Oh, you poor.
It was
man.
It was one of the better children's animated ones I saw this year, but it was not very good.
Okay.
It relies a little bit too much on that "oops, I made a poopy" joke.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
I'm in charge, but also change my diaper.
Yeah, plus, like, I don't know, old Alec Baldwin, just I remember him back from, like, the early 90s and the 80s and stuff, and I thought he was great. And then, like, the older he got, I was like, God, you kind of suck, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. The Greatest Showman. No.
I think it looks all right. I might check it out.
Bad Moms Christmas. I've seen Bad Moms. The fact that got a sequel is astounding to me.
There's an audience for it, I guess.
I guess, but and Geostorm. It's a Roland Emmerich movie, not directed by Roland Emmerich, but the guy who produces all the Roland Emmerich
Roland
movies.
Emmerich's sidekick.
So that's kind of you know what? I might scratch that one off because I'm probably going to end up watching it.
You know, one that surprises me is not on your dishonorable mentions is Alien Covenant. Or is that on another list?
It is intentionally not on. I'm intentionally not talking about it.
Okay.
I don't think it's bad enough to be dishonorable, and
But
I
it's
didn't
not
like
good
it
enough
enough to even talk about it in the best of the year.
That's how I felt about it.
It was a perfectly serviceable movie.
Yeah.
That after a few beers, you can have a little bit of a fun discussion about it.
It's one of those movies I think you can put on when you're having fun with your friends.
Yeah.
And just
hit the highlight reel, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the other night when we were watching Rogue One.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was
a good night, dude. That was fun.
Good time.
It took us a month and a half to get to that.
Yeah, I've been turning that movie on and off for weeks, months, as you said. Okay, so that's what I got. I just wanted to throw those out there because in case people were wondering about them, there they are. Josh, go ahead and hit me with your number 5. Worst movie of 2017.
It was a late release.
Okay.
It was Netflix's Bright.
Ooh.
And
I have not seen it.
I liked what Max Landis was doing with it, but it's not exactly the most original concept. Like, yeah, Max, I too have played Shadowrun.
Okay.
It's not a really unique world. Like, if you're a super nerd, you know that there has been like the blending of fantasy with reality. It's Shadowrun minus the cyberpunk element.
Okay.
The way it begins is very, very interesting because the director he's got a stamp on the cop drama movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it starts off really compelling and really interesting. It's the relationship between these two partners in this fantasy world. And you're waiting through the whole front half of the movie to get a bit of story about this world, a little bit of backstory. And you never get any. Like, it's just like, yeah, there's fantasy creatures that exist in our world.
Yeah, okay.
Why? There's all this story of the Dark Lord and everything. And then the movie takes this dramatic right turn and goes from this pretty raw and hardcore cop drama and suddenly becomes this goofy comic. Like, Will Smith is doing a bit of jokes and stuff in the beginning of it. He's being kind of more subdued, Will Smith. And then all of a sudden he turns into Wacky J from Men in Black. Mm-hmm. And the orc goes from being a down on his luck, hated character that nobody really likes, who's not all that bright, but he's doing the best he can and he wants to be a cop, and this terrible accident happened on his watch. He becomes a complete fucking moron. And the movie just, the longer it goes, it's just a spiral downward. And it was just, that's what most of my worst are just movies that I thought had potential and ended up dying on the vine. Just being super disappointing to me. Okay. And that's what this was, dude. Because when it started, like I said, I was really on board. I thought it was really interesting. And I thought we were going to get a bit of expansion, like a bit of exposition about the world and stuff like that, and why these two are partnered together and everything. And you get, like, there's an orc outreach. Like, orcs are frowned upon in this society, and, like, the fact that he's a cop. He's the only orc cop. And it's like a affirmative action, equality type of move and stuff like that. They're trying to make the department look better and more friendly toward the orc community and whatnot.
Like Zootopia.
Yeah, dude. Yes, actually, yeah. But it doesn't have the story quality.
Yeah, like, obviously. Zootopia is an amazing movie.
And then it made me sad. That's what disappointed me, was because it starts off one way, and then all of a sudden it's squandered.
Squandered potential.
Yeah, it sucked, dude.
I don't know anything about
really sad.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the quality of the movie other than what you're telling me, but I do know that a sequel is definitely coming.
Oh, yeah.
And that a lot of fucking people have seen this movie.
Yeah, and it's kind of divisive from everything I've read. Some people loved it, some people didn't like it. I was one of the people that didn't like it. But it's interesting to see Netflix branching away from their more subtle, more indie flick type of films, horror and slice of life type of stuff. And going into these big summer blockbuster type films.
Yeah, with, for sure, like...
Because this is the most expensive one they've done, I think.
Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me that so many people have watched it. It was the front page of most Netflix apps, like with a automatic playing trailer, starring Will Smith, and you can watch it for free. Everybody fucking has Netflix.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's one thing I will say about it. Like, you can see where the money went. Okay. Some of the special effects are pretty cool. There's a car chase scene that's pretty badass. The makeup design is incredible. I really liked the way they made the orcs look. I like the way the elves look. There's this really cool set piece they do with a character that got hit by magic. And you see, like, the aftermath of what happened to her character. And it's a really cool little, like, it looks almost like some kind of stained glass window effect, or like something done out of metal and stuff. It's really, really cool.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking, I guess I'll just bring it up here to be a Debbie Downer, but speaking of the amazing makeup work that I think a lot of people noticed, a lot of makeup artists were for some reason uncredited, like 30 plus that worked on like extra and background makeup work, like randomly weren't in the credits. It was a big deal after the movie came out. So I don't know.
Bright?
Yeah, on Bright, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's unfair, because they deserve a pat on the back. They did really great stuff. It doesn't look like it does. It's not like Star Trek or any of those other movies that are like, on the lower end, I guess to say. It's very believable. It's very cool looking.
Nice, yeah. So just hearing you say that made me remember that.
Yeah,
that headline that I had read.
Yeah, good costuming, good set design, good makeup effects, good special effects, especially for a direct to Netflix type of film. Like, it's obvious that they pulled out the big guns on this one. Cool. And it's unfortunate that the movie just was mediocre.
Yeah, that's too bad. I'll probably end up watching that one. Obviously, it's free, but
yeah, give it a look for sure. Give it a look. It's just, it was a disappointment to me.
Okay.
Most of the movies I have on my worst list deserve a look. Only 2 do I have that I would punch you in the face if you told me you watched.
Okay.
And enjoyed.
I didn't see a lot of bad movies this year. I like going through my dishonorable mentions was mostly the ones that I had seen.
Yeah.
Were mostly like, eh. All right, my number five worst movie of 2017, Josh, and I swear to God I'm not doing this just to piss you off. But I liked it more. I disliked it more than all of the other ones I read.
We're going to fight right now.
That is Kong Skull Island.
You motherfucker, dude.
I was actively angry for a lot of probably the first hour of that movie. And I think it's only 90 minutes long.
It is only 90 minutes long, you fuck.
I don't talk in movie theaters very often. I had looked at Brittany about 25 minutes in and said, "Do you think it's too late for us to get a refund?" Samuel L. Jackson hammed it up to a degree that I was annoyed.
See, I understand your complaints, and you don't come from the place that I come from.
Yeah.
Where I have seen all of these monster movies and know exactly what I'm getting, and they hit every point perfectly.
Yeah.
And I understand your complaint about the hamming it up, the stupid, like, non-violence messages, and the ridiculous intros and stuff like that. I get it, dude.
Yeah.
But you're a shithead.
For more of a discussion on this one, I'm not going to go too in depth with it. Actually, you can go and watch our whole episode about Kong Skull Island. Yeah, Kong Skull Island. So just go and give that a listen, and you can hear me and Josh kind of have a little bit of an argument about that one.
I really enjoyed that one.
So that's
I loved that movie.
That's all I'm going to say on that, because we have a whole episode on that one. So, Josh, what is your number 4 worst movie of 2017?
King Arthur, Legend of whatever.
Really? Okay, I have not seen that one.
Dude, that movie starts off and you're like, this is gonna be amazing.
Okay. Oh, I know.
It starts off with this badass prologue. It's an epic fantasy. It looks super cool. The music's kind of cool going on.
When the trailer came out, you sent it to me and we're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, no, I was very excited for that movie.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, you get that badass prologue, and then it turns into your go-to plug-and-play Guy Ritchie film.
Oh, okay.
And it's quick cuts with a cool song over the top of it, and you're watching Arthur grow up and everything, and then from there it turns into almost a kung fu movie for a bit, and then it goes right back to a Guy Ritchie movie where everybody's talking 100 miles a minute, and we're getting quick cuts again while a jaunty tune plays over it, and it's just there's this scene where he's having to describe his day because one of the soldiers is looking for a traitor or a spy for the resistance that's against the evil king, Jude Law's character, who is amazing in the movie. I really liked his performance. Unfortunately, the movie doesn't hit.
Okay.
But and that's the problem. It's oh god. Well, they're looking for this traitor. I just have to go through this because it spun my head around. Because it's literally like it's like Snatch or Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Like, it's old school. It's vintage Richie. Okay. It's like, which Mike are you talking about? Mike the Ike, Mike the Dyke, Mike the Spike, Mike the... And he's just like, you're giving me a headache. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because it was just... And he's like, he's a good boy. He's a good boy, that Mike. Mike's a good boy. You know, and they're just cutting... And it's this tune's playing. And the problem with the movie is that keeps happening. There's a part where Arthur has to go to a place called the Darklands to figure out how to use the sword, because the sword and him don't get along, but they do, but they don't. And then he figures out how to use... He's got to go to this place called the Darklands, and the guy from Blood Diamond and Amistad is like, he can't go to the Darklands. Cut to the next scene. Welcome to the Darklands. And I was like, oh, that's funny. But no. Then you get this back and forth quick cut thing going on again where he's saying he can't go to the Darklands, he'll die, while he's in the Darklands. So there's this whole speech of why he needs to go to the Darklands, he can't go to the Darklands, I'm in the Darklands. There's an indefinable time going on in this part, and it doesn't make... The whole movie feels like a fever dream. And that's the problem. It doesn't know the tone it wants. It doesn't know what movie... It can't make up its mind on what movie it wants to be.
Yeah.
And it falls apart.
the bits of classic Guy Ritchie that was in the trailer, I had said I was worried about how that would fit into
you
a
were
fantasy.
absolutely correct.
And I'm probably still going to watch it because...
Oh, yeah, no, this is another one I recommend everybody check out.
Because I kind of have to see that because it sounds ridiculous. The way he does the non-traditional narrative mixed with like
the Tarantino-esque
narration shit that he does.
It's just this movie is trying way too hard to, instead of tell a story, be hip.
Cool. Yeah. Fuck.
And it's I was hoping
violence.
for shut the fuck up. I'm gonna punch you in the face with the mic. No, it's just so irritating. I was hoping for a more subdued Richie, like he was in the Sherlock movies. He doesn't go quite over the top, and I was kind of hoping for that. And no, what I got was Lock, Stock, Smoking Barrels, Snatch, which are great movies and I love, but they have a time period and a style that works for the time period that they're set in. It doesn't work for a genre movie like
I was going to say, exactly. I was just about to say that the genre and the setting it plays into his style.
Yeah,
like,
if
not
it was
a fantasy movie.
If it was more of like a tongue-in-cheek Princess Bride type of comedy fantasy, I could see it working, but it's trying to tell you a serious story, and it doesn't work.
Odd. Okay. Well, my number
Plus,
4...
I don't like Charlie Hunnam that much.
No.
I know.
My number 4, worst movie of 2017, is Pirates 5, and I don't remember Dead Men Tell No
Tales.
Again, not going to talk too much on this one. We have a whole episode about this one. I believe it's, the only movie we talk about on that episode. It is...
so very long.
The 5th Pirates movie. Okay. Okay, Josh. What is your third worst movie of 2016?
It is a little indie movie directed by the guy who did Skeleton Twins, which is why I watched it, because I loved the movie Skeleton Twins. Really got sold on Bill Hader after that. He can do a more dramatic type of role. And I had only known him from SNL and South Park and Hot Rod and stuff like that. And he kills me. But I was interested to see, because it was sold kind of as a comedy, and it ends up being a much more serious film. This movie, Wilson, stars Woody Harrelson, Laura Dern, and a smattering of other people. Mm-hmm. And it's terrible.
Okay. What's the name of the movie again?
Wilson.
Okay.
It is awful. And I looked up why. I had to know. It's written by the guy that wrote the graphic novel and the film Ghost World.
Okay.
And did you ever see Ghost World?
No.
Okay. It's a definite product of its time. It's a very late 90s, early 2000s story about teenagers growing up and not wanting to be a part of society. It's like the beginning of the hipster movement.
Yeah.
They listen to only vinyl records and they're too cool for everything.
Sounds like The Beach.
One of Scarlett Johansson's very, very first films.
Cool.
But no, Wilson is... Woody Harrelson plays like... It's like he took tips from Randy Quaid from Kingpin and decided to try to do it himself. And he feels like a Farrelly Brothers character in this indie movie where he's trying to fix his life and like doing it terrible. Like Laura Dern plays his ex-crazy hooker, former hooker, girlfriend who he's reunited with, and they're like trying to be a couple again, and they find their daughter and she's a train wreck, and it's bad. It's like edgelordy, but it's got like all this stupid bad jokes from Wilson to Woody Harrelson's character.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking work. It was so stupid.
It's always a fucking roll of the dice with those movies. On one, you find some where you're just like, yes, this is brilliant. I get what they're doing.
Yeah.
I like this. And then you get ones like, I'm assuming this, things like Jeff Who Lives at Home.
Yeah.
And just random other ones that end up being just total garbage.
Mm-hmm.
I've stopped watching so many of them lately, basically because of that.
Yeah. See, and I was expecting like a dark comedy kind of thing because that's what Skeleton Twins is, and it was very, very, very good.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. You were watching it based off of the director's former work, and it's like...
Yeah, no, and then I get, like I said, like a Farrelly Brothers character stuck in a tonally different film. Yeah. Like, it was so fucking off-putting, dude. I could not stand that movie. I ended up doing other things while watching the film.
Well, it is interesting that you bring that up, Josh, because my number 3 worst movie of 2017 was Colossal.
Ooh.
That's
gonna put off some people.
I've seen it on best of lists this year.
Yeah. A lot of people like that movie.
It's fucking...
I'm with you on that.
It's fucking terrible. Like...
I didn't think it was terrible, but I'm with you.
Dude, it was fucking terrible.
Yeah, no. I could easily be convinced that it was a terrible fucking movie.
You have a completely unlikable main character, which isn't out of the norm for some of these movies. But the problem is that you have an unlikable main character.
You have an unlikable villain.
An unlikable villain.
Who is arguably worse, and I will say Jason Sudeikis does a... There's another one that surprised me. Surprised me, yeah.
But it was... I just wonder, were we supposed to place the blame of her entire life of her being a fuck-up because a kid was mean to her back in the day? Like, none of it doesn't make any sense. She's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. The boyfriend's a piece of shit. And...
everybody sucks in the movie.
And then they find out some other shit. There's like one guy who's a good dude.
Yeah.
And then she realizes that he's always been a dick and then kills him. And then the movie's fucking over.
And there's this monster movie plotline that goes in.
It is completely
inconsequential. But it's a total afterthought. And then
it's a metaphor.
And then it becomes the main point of the film and it stops being a metaphor. And that's where the movie really got bogged down for me, was where I was just like, wait, we're supposed to be taking this seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Some of the reviews I heard were like, yeah, it was so absurd and it was so all over the place. And it was like, what kind of movie is this? And I liked that it was so dumb. And I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, I've seen it called genre-defying, and I'm like, no, because it's the same movie. They just tacked on a monster movie plot to it.
Yeah. And
it's like Godzilla. And the new Godzilla movie.
Yeah, and for it was probably only 90 minutes long. It felt so fucking long.
Yeah, it really did.
Because they spent time building the characters, sure. And I guess the reveal of Sudeikis' character, you start to look back on the stuff that was slower and realize that he was actually kind of being a dick the whole time and just acting like he's nice. Okay, to what end?
Yeah.
Especially at the very last scene of the movie, I guess our main character had made no progress whatsoever other than her personal vendettas.
I guess, yeah. It seemed like she had made progress, which came out of nowhere. She just, like, for struggling with alcoholism, she sure gets over it real fast, and then suddenly she's an alcoholic again
still, or yeah. I guess we're left on a note of like, I guess she's doing something.
It's that indie movie where people don't change.
Yeah, no, I know, and like I said, I
don't like that. I need an arc.
Yeah, in the past I've watched a lot of those, and a lot of them hit for me, and a lot of them don't hit. And just this year, I just have had little success, and that one just really pissed me off because I had heard great things.
Yeah,
and it fucking sucked for me. All right, number 2 on your top 5 worst, Josh.
Much like you, although higher on my list, which doesn't matter. None of these are in any kind of order. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Perfect.
I fucking hated that movie.
Yeah, you hated it even more than I did.
I got really angry in that movie, dude. I was so bored about only a third of the way into that movie. I was beyond done.
It's terribly boring.
They tried to throw an interesting storyline in towards the end, and I was like, why wasn't this the main focus of the fucking movie the whole time? That's much more interesting than anything else that's gone on.
Agreed.
Oh my god.
Go and listen to the episode.
Yeah. There's nothing that I can say now that we haven't already said. It is indeed the 5th Pirates movie, and we're getting a 6th one from everything I've heard.
Oh my god. Okay, number 2, I struggled with this one. But number 2 is The Great Wall.
Oh man, I didn't even fucking bring that up. Was that this year? I thought that was last year.
No.
We just watched it this year.
It came out this year.
Son of a bitch. I didn't even think that was worth mentioning, man. God, fuck that movie.
That is one of the biggest sins, though, Josh. It was being so forgettably bland.
And that was the
While
thing.
While being colorful and fantastical, it was so boring and bland.
Yeah. Everybody's boring in that movie.
Yeah.
Even like Adrian Pascal, who's supposed to be kind of comedic relief.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not even kind of funny. Like, Willem Dafoe wasted entirely in the movie. Matt Damon wasted in the movie.
Matt Damon doing a weird accent.
And even the Chinese actors as well. I've seen the girl in a couple other things that I enjoyed her in.
But most of them were like just idealistic.
Yeah. It was all tropes.
Yeah.
And the plot didn't make much sense.
No,
yeah, God,
definitely
what a terrible movie.
I believe it was like written by an American screenwriter.
No, it was written by a Chinese one. Well, I thought.
Well, the director is like the famed.
Yeah, he did Hero, which is a brilliant film.
Yeah, but I think it was an American script, and that was like
they were trying to bridge the gap. They wanted to make the big American blockbuster. Yeah, now I remember that. I'm remembering the story now.
And I was like, well, the director can't read the script.
Yeah, that was apparent.
And it was just.
Yeah.
A boring spectacle with actors that are good doing nothing.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm just like, hey, why did you make this movie? And it probably cost $1 gazillion.
Yeah.
And that is so bad.
Yeah.
How does that keep happening? They could have made like 10 Netflix movies. You know what I mean? Instead.
Yeah. They could have made an interesting little series on Netflix if they wanted to.
Yeah,
I probably would have watched it.
Explored the characters and the world and the whole entire premise, which was glossed
I would have
over.
watched. Yeah, I would have watched a dope kung fu series on Netflix. That would have been cool. I like Into the Badlands, and that's not even a real kung fu movie.
Yeah. So
it's unfortunate.
So Josh, we're on to your number 1. Yes.
Oh yeah, I will be surprised if we differ on this. Number 1,
The Last Jedi.
Bullet. The Last Jedi.
All right.
I'm taking a stand.
All right, go ahead.
No, Ghost in the Shell.
My number 1 is also Ghost in the Shell.
Well done. As a huge Ghost in the Shell fan, it was one of the first animes I ever saw. It started my love of the cyberpunk genre. After that came Blade Runner. And Akira and other...
etc.
I watched the show when it was on Adult Swim, which was not the same storyline as the original film. It was an expansion, and they changed a little bit around and stuff to make it a more serialized. I love the sequel. And this movie was everything that didn't matter about Ghost in the Shell. It didn't have the same loving cinematography. Yes, I know they're animated film, but there are these brilliant and beautiful, peaceful moments that just showcase the city, which leads me into my next complaint. Everyone talks about how visually accurate every representation was in this movie. That city looks absolutely nothing like the city in Ghost in the Shell. It looks like Mega City 1 from Judge Dredd. It looks like every generic cyberpunk city, and they plugged it in. And that makes me angry when I hear people talk about how visually accurate it is. No, they had half-assed milquetoast versions of cool fight scenes and sequences from the original film. And that's it. It doesn't look the same. It's not told the same. It's garbage. They tried to take stuff from the anime show and the film and mishmash it together in what, a 2 hour?
It's 2 hours.
2 hour time frame to make its own entity, and it is just a boring, long, dull mess. It is the worst fucking movie I've seen all year. I hate that movie. I was so mad when we watched that movie. I hate to say it, but it further proves my point. Scarlett Johansson cannot carry a film on her own. She's not a good enough actress.
Probably not. But that being said, she also has to... I have not seen Ghost in the Shell, and I agree, the movie was very long, it was very dull, it was very generic, while I know having a source material that's very rich, so that's super
well, I mean,
disappointing.
it's how does one of, like, the founding of a genre feel so derivative?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's not the original work, probably.
Yeah, probably, and that's true. But a lot of things suffer that. I don't know, like, this is completely off topic, but, like, remember when the new Thief game came out, and they're like, it's just like Dishonored.
Yeah,
but
which
Dishonored was just...
and weren't they both made by the original team that made Thief?
Yeah, it was really weird. So... that some things suffer from that. That's not this. Like, my hate for the movie comes from a completely different place, completely disconnected from the source material. But somewhat in the same vein, I've only recently started liking cyberpunk, and you know, I saw Blade Runner for the first time not too long ago, and I saw Akira for the first time not too long ago, and getting into stuff like that.
Well, you liked the original Matrix. That's
in the Matrix and stuff like that, never mind. But because I can't think of the fucking name of the movie, Minority Report and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so there's a nerd liking there, but the more staples of what people consider
just as a film, if you want to come at from that, like you're saying, it's very badly written and very poorly paced.
It's very poorly paced. There's no characters.
No, like you're supposed to follow Major Kusanagi.
Yeah.
She doesn't fucking matter at all. And then like Sato's in there and everything, and it's who cares?
Yeah. And it like
I was unsure as to who, if I didn't know who their names were originally, I would not have known who they were by the end of the film.
It's weird. They didn't do anything.
No.
Feels like they were just things happened and then they're like, all right, let's wrap this shit up.
Yeah, it was another one, like I was saying earlier. It's another one where all the plot tends to happen at the very end of the movie, and
and you don't care.
Yeah,
The opening I had seen. They had like put that out in a clip form on the internet, and I saw that and was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. Go check it out. Scene was still cool, and the whole movie never does anything like that ever again.
Nope.
I can't even...
That scene was out of the show.
I can't even... I know that. And I can't even remember most of the movie.
No, I barely remember the movie.
And I just remember actively disliking it.
I know that they really loved the fact that you could take pieces off of them and expose their android underneath, and that was about it.
It was hard to sit through.
Yes.
Even at home with alcoholic beverages. So that's not a good sign. Wow. Just, really bad. In a year with so many great to okay movies, the fact that this turd came out...
Yeah, God.
It makes it stand out even more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a great year for film, and it makes the bad ones really shine.
This is the only one on my list... Besides like Colossal.
With an underline and exclamation points and stars.
Besides Colossal, that I truly think is just like the fucking worst.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Pirates 5.
Basically, the top two I have is don't watch these fucking movies.
Exactly.
There is an audience for the other three.
Exactly. All right, well, there we go. We're done with that shit.
You want to do honorable mentions?
And we're on to the best, and we will start with the honorable mentions, Josh. Go right ahead. Take her away.
Do you want me to start from the bottom, or do you want me to read them off?
Just honorable mentions, whatever order you want to fucking do it, man.
All right.
Mine are in no particular order.
Yeah, mine aren't in any order. The only one I have for number ones of best and worst that really matter.
Exactly, yeah.
Honorable mentions, starting it off, Wonder Woman.
Also on my honorable mention, great movie.
I really loved that movie a whole lot, and the only thing that knocks it out of the top 5 for me is the villain. And it's because DC's always patting itself on the back and talking about doing more adult, darker themes, more philosophical stuff. And they started off doing that, and I was so compelled, and it would have made that stand apart as a comic book film for me, because the idea that they presented originally was that Ares wasn't someone you could fight, someone you could punch. He was a concept. He was an idea. And I loved the idea of a villain who had transcended like a physical form.
Yeah.
And become, like, at the end of the movie, her realization should have been that she just has to fight his after effect. Like, Ares was a virus that had infected the world of men, and she had to just carry on the good fight to fight Ares.
Yeah.
No, we get a man with a literal mustache to twirl.
Yeah.
And he fights him in an indefinable space surrounded by fire.
What I was going to say is, the reason it's not in my top 5 as well, is, and we have a whole episode on this one, so go and listen to it, but...
I didn't say that when we talked. I
know. No. But you're
That's
right.
the only reason.
The reason it's not on my top 5 is because, first of all, a lot of good movies came out this year, and second of all, yes, it's when the great writing and performances took a back seat, and the fucking DC signature overly CGI'd dark fight scenes where everything moves really fast and looks like crap.
Yeah, it goes from slow-mo to super speed to slow-mo to super speed.
But to talk about your problems with the villain, though, she killed Ares, though, but, like, men still have wars.
Yeah, they still suck.
So that did happen, but you're right. Having her fight a man with a mustache.
Yeah, it underplayed what they had set up, and I would have loved... And there
and
had
then
been
they wouldn't
some
have
type
had that
of
stupid fight scene.
Yeah, there would have been some type of plot twist where just like when Steve talks to her and he's just like, "There's no fucking Ares." Yeah. I would have loved if that had been like, "Oh, well then I just got to keep going," and we'll just take care of these Nazi sons of bitches. Well, they weren't Nazis, but yeah,
German, dickheads. So go listen to that episode. Go and see that movie. It's out on DVD. Do it. One of my honorable mentions, Josh, Lego Batman.
Fantastic film.
Have an episode on that.
Yep.
It's my second favorite Batman movie.
It's one of my top 3.
It's really good.
I really loved that movie. That was a great Batman movie.
Really, really good.
It's funny. It's got a villain with a plan that makes sense.
Yep.
That actually works.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, that actually
that
works.
plays into Batman's weaknesses, not just because the villain's super, super smart.
Yeah, Batman's actually got some character depth to him in this movie. I really... And that was a lot for a kid's film.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that movie a lot.
Yeah, liked it a lot. What else you got?
Number 2, John Wick 2.
John Wick 2. Haven't seen it yet. Bummed out that you watched it without me.
Sorry, dude. I'm sorry. It was on, and I just was like, I'm watching it. Like, I fell into it. I feel bad. I feel terrible now.
So now that's all you get to say.
So now we're not friends. No, I don't have much to say. It only falls apart because it's just, did you like John Wick?
It's more John Wick.
You're going to get more John Wick.
Yeah.
And it's super cool. You get more of the world building, and that's one thing I'll say. There's a lot more world building that goes on.
Dope.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
But it's John Wick too. Like, do you like John Wick? You're gonna like John Wick too.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
I have Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Ooh.
Listen to that episode. It's our most divisive episode yet.
Yeah.
Me and the rest
still haven't come to a consensus on that.
Me and the rest of the world enjoy the film. It was good. I watched it again. Still good. Mm-hmm. Not perfect. I agree with most of your complaints. But it was a Marvel-filled fucking year.
That's funny because I have one that on my list that you've mentioned.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, we'll go. Yeah. It's just we're talking about having an understanding. It's the same kind of thing.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Get another one off.
Number 3. Kong of Skull Island.
Okay.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I know.
So much because it speaks to 8-year-old me sitting there watching monster movies with my dad. It was one of my favorite things to do when I was little. I loved watching Godzilla fight Mothra, even though Mothra sucks. King Kong versus Godzilla was one of the first ones I ever saw. and it's not that great. It's kind of ridiculous, especially because I think there's a moment where Godzilla, like, it's Godzilla or Kong that flips off the other one. I can't remember what it is, but it's ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure Kong flips him off.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it's one of my favorite, but it's so funny to me. But I love monster movies, and it's in my honorable mentions instead of my top because I can't justify nostalgia putting a movie in top 5 for me.
Yeah, we have an episode on this. I let you do most of the talking.
Love that movie
because I was just kind of about it. I often talk about like I regret that I don't have that with like monster movies, like older genre films. Like I didn't watch a lot of them.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't have.
Dude,
that.
they used to put them on one of the local networks, and that was where I watched them. They were on during the weekends.
Yeah, and I'm sure that things that I would think were bad, if I was like, they're doing that thing from these genre, I would like it more. But it just didn't work for me. Which sucks.
Yeah, no, I get your complaints. I still think you're a dick.
Which sucks. But you know what? You know, they're not gonna make every movie for every person.
Yeah.
What else do I got on here? Oh, Fate of the Furious. That was a great time.
What a great movie. That was so fun. I loved that movie.
It was just a good time, you know. 6 they went too serious. 7
they reeled it back in.
They went a little bit more crazy, and this one
he did stomp a parking lot in half in 7.
He did. Said the streets fight back.
I'm still like 8 still bothers me because we're cool with Jason Statham now.
Yeah. Yeah. He killed Han.
He killed Han, and now he's at the barbecue? What are you doing?
He's at the rooftop barbecue.
You blew up our house. What are you doing here?
Yeah, it's true, but it was just such a good time. It just started off and let you know that it was going to be a ridiculous movie.
Oh, yeah. No, that movie is super fun.
It's turned more tongue-in-cheek. It's great.
Yeah, it's just a celebration of the absurd.
Yep, loved it.
It's funny. You love the Fast and Furious movies for the same reasons I love the Kong movie.
Fair enough.
But I get why you can't set that aside because this is that type of absurdity as opposed to that type of absurdity.
Yeah, exactly. With Kong, man, it's just and you'll hear my conflicted soul in there. If you go back and listen to the episode, it's like I want to think it's cool, but
it's just funny to me.
But my brain starts firing off and doing connections, and it can't find anything.
It's just funny to me because you liked Pacific Rim and you don't like Kong of Skull Island. I think it's because the giant robots.
Yeah, there's something there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with Kong, I have literally King Kong, the Peter Jackson one, to pull off of.
I like that this one didn't even bother doing that.
No, at all. And I was kind of like, I don't know. I felt like they were gonna do the thing where they take old tropey genre film and then turn it into a better movie.
Yeah, well, that's when you get stuff like Godzilla.
I know, but somewhere in between Godzilla and this,
you wanted a middle ground. Yeah, I get it.
But anyway, so what else you got?
I got Kingsman 2.
Yeah, okay,
because and I have all the same complaints that you did. I just enjoyed it, I think, a little bit more.
I really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah. It's
just when we talked about it, in you can go back to the episode and how I my description that I wrote for it.
Oh, yeah. It's they do too much of the wrong things too big.
Yeah. And
it really does suffer from sequelitis.
Yeah.
And the villain really annoys me because she's so dismissible, and the Statesman really disappointed me because I was really looking forward to them. But
it was more Kingsman.
I still had a lot of fun watching it.
Yeah, it was more Kingsman. It was good. It's just the missteps and the it's bigger now because it's the sequel. It just had that in spades. And like I said, I put it in dishonorable mentions just because the main thing I want to talk about with that movie is it's good. But man, could it have been a million times better?
It could have been 100 times better. And it makes it to honorable for me because I still walked out it's pretty good.
And there hasn't been a lot of movies like that this year either.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else do I got? I've got Dunkirk. Watched that recently.
I missed that one.
It's Christopher Nolan's best movie.
You've seen.
I don't care for the man that much.
I'm not a big fan.
No, I don't need to see those other pieces of crap.
Prestige and Memento are good movies.
It's gonna be in those lists of the best war films. I can guarantee that.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it. I still need to see it.
It's visual storytelling through and through. There's very little dialogue. I'm pretty sure the movie goes about...
I'm pretty sure that's what he excels at, so maybe he should just do that from now on.
Exactly.
Because every time he tries to have characters, they're all so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just great. It was good. It's 90 minutes long. You get a story, and you go, nice. And it looks very good. Oh, fuck. The only negative I have is there's one character I don't care for. I don't know if it's the actor or the fact that his story was stupid. Fucking Nolan, man. It changes aspect ratios so many times. For IMAX, it's in 16:9.
I heard a theory from somebody back when Prestige and Memento were around. They thought that was part of like the unreliable unreliable narratives that were going on in there. And then they saw the rest of their movies, and he's like, yeah, and I saw the rest of his movies, and we're just like, no, this is just why he just does this for some odd reason.
It's like, this is a cinematic scene, so we're gonna have it in the classic, like 21:9 or whatever, and then, now we're in 16:9 IMAX, and then this is 70mm, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
In a movie theater, you don't notice it. If you're watching it at home, your black bars start showing up on your TV.
Yeah.
So
just randomly, you've got a letterbox.
Yeah, exactly. So that was really stupid. Other than that, man, you definitely need to check it out.
I want to check it out. That was on my list to see, and I just didn't get to it.
Yeah.
I actually got a lot of these done that I had wanted to watch. And Dunkirk was unfortunately one that I missed.
One that didn't. Yeah, I didn't get as many done as I wanted to. What else you got, Josh?
Number 5. You may be a little disappointed in me. The Last Jedi.
Nice.
I love so much about that movie, but upon a second viewing and further reflection, it just doesn't hit for me.
Yeah.
The Canto Bite, everything with Finn, which makes me super sad because Finn was one of my favorite characters. Even Poe and like some of the new characters they introduce are a little bit of a letdown for me. That's a movie that's very divisive. I liked the movie a whole lot. And I had that moment of panic that I told you about where I was like, I don't think I liked it. I felt really bad about saying that because it sucked feeling that way again. But then I saw it a second time and I was like, no, this isn't that bad. This isn't Attack of the Clones. This isn't Revenge of the Sith. It's a good movie. The stuff that works for it works so great, dude. Everything they do with Luke, Kylo is still one of the most interesting characters. I'm even more intrigued. I am more intrigued by Rey after this movie than I was after Force Awakens. I thought she was kind of one of the weaker characters the first time around. This time around, I'm insanely interested in her. I want to see her journey. I want to see how Kylo and her are going to play out. Luke was amazing. Everybody, all the haters talking about how bitter old Luke. It makes perfect sense. Don't be a piece of shit.
Yeah, no, that shit is whatever. I'm not going to talk too much about it for reasons that I won't state. So, the last on mine, and do I have 5? No, I have 6, I guess.
Oh, okay. I only had 5.
But one of ours overlaps, so it's all good. So the last one on mine, and I have a feeling there's a reason you didn't bring this up. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. We have an episode on.
That's one of your honorables.
That's one of my honorable mentions. We have a whole episode on this one. At the time, I was over the fucking moon.
We had a great episode about that one.
I'm still over the moon about that movie.
It's a really good movie.
But a top 5 is a top 5. And if you don't make the cut, it's too bad. I would say it's a
solid
number 6. So
right.
If we're making a top 6 here or a top 10, so perhaps I shouldn't talk too much about it for no reason in particular. All right, Josh. Then we shall get into it.
What was your number 6?
It was Wonder Woman. It went over.
Oh, okay.
I said one of them overlapped. So it was fine.
Okay. Here we go.
The best 5 times my body finished for 2017.
Woo!
Woo! All right.
So cool.
Dope.
All right. Do you want to start from? Let's start from the bottom and work to the number.
To number 1. So number 5 for you, Josh.
The Big Sick.
The Big Sick. Nice.
Written by Kumail Nanjiani.
Yes.
Directed by Judd Apatow.
Was it? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I know he went to Judd with it.
Okay.
This movie is so honest and such a beautiful story. It is. If it is Judd Apatow, I can't remember. I feel really stupid. I wish I had looked into it.
I don't think Kumail directed.
I know he wrote it,
but he wrote
because it's the true story of him and his wife,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels so. I am super impressed by Kumail Nanjiani.
The fact that this is in your top 5 makes me angry. I had 2 movies I wanted to see before we did this: Dunkirk and that, and I only got Dunkirk out of the way.
Dude, then I will not spoil this. I'm just gonna tell you, he is so earnest. And so you get a great view of his life. And the fact that it's a true story, that it's his true story that he's doing in a movie that he's acting in, adds so much credence to the story. You get his life as a Muslim growing up in America, which is amazing. It's really good. You get the relationship between the two of them, which has its ups and downs, and it feels more real, other than one of those Hollywood type of relationships. There's only one part towards the end where the film feels like it drags a little too long, but it's instead of like that 45 to an hour where you're like, cut this fucking down, it's only like 5 minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, where you're just like, okay, you could speed this up a bit.
Yeah.
But he is amazing in the film. Ray Romano, who generally gets on my nerves, is really good in the movie.
That's good.
Holly Hunter is typically great. I don't know the name of the woman that plays his girl. Zoe something, I think is what it is. She's great in the movie. Kumail impressed me the most because all I know him from is comedy.
Yeah. And
he is so earnest in this movie. He's funny on top of being a real person. And the characters are believable. It's a very good story, dude. I really got sucked up in the drama. I was worried about her the whole time. I felt for him. Very excellent film.
Damn. Yeah, I really wanted to see it. In my mind, though, I was kind of like, oh, it's probably overhyped because everybody loves Kumail and whatever.
No, dude.
I'm sure it'll be okay. Movie. And then you're like, it's my number 5 top movie. And I'm like, what the fuck? How come I didn't watch this yet?
No, dude.
I'm an idiot.
It is on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Please check it out, everybody. I loved that movie.
Wow.
Great film.
I was not expecting that in the least bit, Josh. You threw me off there.
Sorry, man.
Damn, son. All right. My number 5 for favorite of the year is Star Wars The Last Jedi.
I figured.
So,
I'm surprised it's low.
Well, it's been a great year, but I struggle. I could have easily not been honest with myself and thrown number 1 and just been like, fuck the haters. You can listen to the episode. The plan had always been, we're gonna fucking fresh out of the theater do a review of this shit. In retrospect, I regret doing that.
I do as well. I think we should have let it slower burn on it.
We should have, because like you said, we were overly positive. We were mostly focused on the positive, even in that.
Yeah.
But
because the positives are so good.
You came out of that movie like, what the fuck just happened? Like,
yeah,
the fact that you don't know where the main Canto Bight story is going makes it feel like it's dragging on to no end, and like on second viewing, that shit is a lot better while being terribly unnecessary.
It's the worst part of the story, but it's not insufferable.
Yeah, and the good gets even better. The subtle character moments, like, it is a very, very important and very good Star Wars movie, mixed with trying to bad shit that they tried to have characters like be in the movie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like
They could have introduced certain characters much better.
Yeah, adding like 3 more characters to an already ensemble
one that
cast
does not matter at all.
Because Luke wasn't in the first one.
Nope.
So he just takes the place of Han. But then you're making Leia a little bit more part of the story. Then you're also adding Holdo. Then you're also adding DJ, who's not a fucking character. And then you're also
Plot device.
Yeah, and then you're adding Rose Tico. Like, there's not enough room for what's going on. And so like objectively, the movie's bogged down in some shit, and it's paced a little poorly in places.
It's a little messy.
But the parts that are fucking good, it's some of the best Star Wars I've ever fucking seen.
Oh, yeah.
Ever.
Oh, yeah.
And that is a very strange feeling to have about a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's very complicated how I feel about that movie.
Yeah, and for me, I'm just like, oh yeah, some shit sucks in that movie.
Yeah,
so I want to get it out there. But I'm fucking in love and somewhat obsessed with it, as I'm sure you may have noticed. I may do if you want. I want to talk about it some more.
If you want to do a special, dude.
If you don't, I may do a solo thing.
Might do it anyway.
Might just do it anyway. But
no, I'd love to do another sit down talk about it. We do it anyway.
Yeah,
we're probably gonna do it after this.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't stopped talking about it.
No, you haven't.
So it's only number 5 because this has been a great year, Josh.
It's been a fantastic year.
So let's go ahead and move on to number 4. What do you got for me?
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Nice.
I loved that movie.
I fucking loved it as well.
I fucking and what puts it in the top 5 for me is for the first time ever in a Marvel movie, you have a truly despicable villain.
Yes.
And it's been upon repeated viewings of the movie, thinking about his character. Ego is the biggest piece of shit the Marvel Cinematic Universe has ever presented us with.
Yeah.
He goes around from planet to planet, knocking up women, not only murdering the children to fuel his thirst for power, but killing the mothers off as well.
Mm-hmm.
He is hubris personified.
Yeah.
He is a horrible person. And yes, it's the stereotypical, I'm gonna dominate everything.
Sure.
But it's his methodology that is truly despicable.
Yeah.
And I fucking hate him.
Dude,
and I thought it would, I just on top of the great story arc for Yondu,
yep.
Even Peter's bit.
Yep.
And I also really enjoyed Gamora and Nebula's storyline.
Yeah. I liked Mantis.
Mantis was a great character.
Yeah.
They introduced her really well. I loved what they did with her. Wish she had stayed green because she's green in the comics, but I get why. They're like, do we really need a third green character? Just everyone's either blue or green. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I fucking love the movie. I agree with you.
So great.
It's my favorite Marvel villain. If you're like, what the fuck? Loki is like an anti-hero at this point.
Yeah, Loki was barely a villain to begin with.
Sure, he had a good villainous performance, and nobody can take that away.
Yeah, no, Tom Hiddleston is amazing.
Yeah, in Avengers, he knocks it out of the park. But, yeah, it brought the feels. It was weird. It was different.
It was. Oh, that was my other praise that I was going to give it. It is probably the most balls-out, pure Marvel cosmic film that we're ever going to get.
Yeah.
It is bizarre. It is so... But Ego himself is bizarre.
Yeah.
His method is very old-school comic. Dude, just like... It's everything I wanted in a Marvel cosmic-themed film, dude. And it's just very... I love the Marvel cosmic. And I was so glad to see it represented as well as it can be for a larger audience.
Yeah.
You can't get too fucking weird.
At the time I saw it, it was my second favorite Marvel film. It was fucking amazing.
Oh yeah.
Like just because it made number 6.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. I also fucking love it, and we have a whole episode on that.
Yes.
Go ahead and give it a listen.
It's one of our better episodes.
Indeed it is, sir. That's a Garudio episode.
Yeah.
Like most of them. Honestly, like most of last year was.
Yeah.
So that goes quite well into my number 4, Josh, which is Thor Ragnarok, which I like more than Guardians 2, which is crazy because Guardians 2 is probably a better movie.
No. You know why? Because you can't compare the two because one is a comedy and one is more of a dramedy.
Yeah.
Guardians 2 doesn't manage its humor as well as Thor Ragnarok does.
No, because James Gunn is a goofy dude, but he also wrote a really good dramatic makes me feel movie just tried to insert ridiculous jokes.
Yeah, no, and Taika Waititi did what Taika Waititi does best, dude.
And he turned Thor, because where do you go with Thor?
Yeah, no, he went exactly where you need to go with Thor.
Crazy, weird, and funny.
Yeah,
and
it's the other end of the Marvel cosmic for me, dude. It's the goofy, weird shit that goes on in there instead of the weird, philosophical, deep, craziness.
Yeah.
But no, dude. And also, like what you were saying about Loki, they handle Loki perfectly in this movie. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie where Thor is just like, you are always going to suck. I'm not going to try to stop you.
Yep. It's
Sorry,
super
I took
funny.
over your conversation.
Yeah, no, it's super funny. Fucking Taika Waititi. I love him as a director. I love him as an actor.
He's hysterical.
Yeah, he is just great. And this movie was fucking weird and stupid. It was sci-fi mixed with this fantasy plot that I know is the down point for a lot of people. To you, I say watch Justice League. But you got fucking you've got the great back and forth. Thor's character's completely changed, and that's fine. That's great.
He's an expansion upon what he was in the first Avengers film.
Yeah, exactly. And
it feels natural.
Yeah, and Valkyrie's good.
Valkyrie was a surprise for me. I was not expecting to like her as much as I did.
Yeah, Hulk himself was very funny.
That's where it doesn't make it for me. That's why I didn't put it in the top 5. I wanted more of a gladiatorial match. Yeah. I wanted for Thor and Hulk to have a rivalry for most of the movie, and he has to work up to fighting Hulk. And that was why it missed for me, but by no means does that take away from the fantastic film that it is.
I always liked Thor because he was goofy and it was fun and it didn't care that it was that.
No.
And this one was
He's a celebration of the goofy.
And this one was like, we're not even gonna bother with having like the serious but he's a god thing. They're like, nah, they do like a thing.
Yeah.
Where he's like, oh, your power. And then it's like, oh, and then fucking Immigrant Song plays, and it's nuts, and it's crazy, and it's fun, it's colorful, and...
It's so colorful, and I love the design of that. I already gushed about
and it's just, I'm unapologetic of, like, there's nothing there. It's just a fun romp.
Yeah.
Guardians 2 has substance.
Oh, yeah.
This movie is just pure fun.
And it is the purest comic book movie I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
It's like the old Supermans.
Yeah. And I loved it. So that's my number 4 for the year, Josh.
Dude, that's a great pick, man.
What do you got for number 3, my man?
Number 3, I have Wind River.
Ooh.
Because that Taylor
Harvey
Sheridan...
Weinstein Company film.
God damn it, man. Well, I'm going to take it off now. I don't have a number 3. I only have a top 4.
I was hoping that was going to be in your top 5 because I was like, that
you were just waiting.
I was like, that was a Weinstein Company movie.
I'm going to get him.
I'm gonna Golden Globes him, and now it's not allowed to win anything.
No, dude. Wind River was... I love the guy that wrote and directed it.
Hell or High Water, right?
He did Hell or High Water. I fucking love that movie.
We both were blown away by that fucking movie.
Fantastic movie. And this one is just as good, if not even better, I will say. Probably the best performance I've ever seen from Jeremy Renner.
Nice.
He does what he does well. He's very subtle, very subdued, he's grim, and he's good at that. And I'm fantastic. I'm super pleased with that. He is he was so great in the movie as his character. Elizabeth Olsen does a fantastic job. She is set up as a certain type of character, and then that is almost immediately dismissed. And she is probably even more badass than Jeremy Renner is. I was very impressed by her. Like, just as a character, like, her performance is very strong. She's just great in the movie. Like, I can't figure out how to word it. Like, she does really great. She's so cool. I really liked her. There is an earnestness to her character. She wants to help these people, and she is frustrated by the limitations that she is put in, because it centers around the true story of all these Native American women that go missing, and there's no statistic for how many of these women. They are just written off. No one knows about this. And she is extremely frustrated by the fact that she can't do this because she doesn't have this, and she needs this. Well, they're not going to give us this. This is all I have. And she's frustrated by that, but she perseveres. And she doesn't start shit with the local sheriff guy. She's as angry about it as he is, and they try to work together. And I loved that mostly about the film. Is there is no ridiculous jurisdiction, well, the local cop's a dumbass. No, he's a good man that's trying to do the best that he can. And she is a good woman trying to do the best that they can, and they work together. And I thought that was great.
In terms of, and fuck, man.
Just good writing again, dude.
Fuck, man, you go and you watch all these movies like 2 weeks before we do this. So I'm not unprepared. I'm just man. Like, well, I haven't seen the same movies. But then you're like, oh, well, but in the last 2 weeks I watched all of them. Anyway, in terms of like Hell or High Water, is it as subdued and simple and small of a story? Like, yeah. And is it more see, don't tell? Is it like, does it have the same like mark on it?
Yes.
Like, you know it's the same guy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because Hell or High Water is like
has the same,
a high mark for visual storytelling.
It's same kind of. Did Taylor Sheridan direct Hell or High Water? I know he wrote it.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
because he does the same thing with like brilliant, like showing you the landscape. He does an amazing job even before they start, because there is a point in the movie where they talk about what happens to you in the cold out there. There's a little bit of exposition about it, but he does an amazing job of showing you how cold it is out there. You watch that movie, you feel the cold, the bite of the snow and the wind, and you feel alone and helpless, and it's crazy.
It's like in Hell or High, so these have the same.
It's like Hell or High Water.
Where Jeff Bridges is talking about what these people go through and blah 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 blah, but then they're trying to get information out of like a waitress and a cook, and they're just like, nah, bro.
She was first.
Yeah, no, dude, they tipped me $100. Like, you can fuck off.
Well, and the way they set up the towns where you're just driving through and you see those billboards pass about getting out of debt and loan and everything, loans and stuff.
Predatory
it's the same type of thing, dude, where you just see these big shots of these frost-covered forests and the landscape, and it's a beautiful film, and the script is very tight, dude. I loved that movie.
Yeah.
It's another one where you kind of know what happened the whole time, and when you get to the point where they catch up to that, it is some of the best tension I've seen since Argo.
Wow.
I really, really was just, that part really got me, where I was just like, oh my god, 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 just the whole time, dude. Yeah, dude, I can't sing that movie's praises enough. It's one of my, it's in my top 3 for a reason.
Damn, son.
Sorry, I went and watched a couple movies without you.
Just fucking with you. So,
all right.
I'm going to go ahead and give you my top 3, and we're not going to talk about it at all, and then you're going to give me your number 2, okay? My number 3 is Logan.
Okay.
What is your number 2?
Logan.
Okay, so we can talk about it. I know you all too well, sir.
You do indeed. Oh, God, Logan.
Let me tell you, Josh, I have a feeling I know where this is going, and you have you gave a serious snub this year, my man. You gave a serious snub, but go ahead, let's talk about Logan.
What did I
Let's go and talk about Logan. So it's my number 3, your number 2.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about it, my man.
Now I'm concerned. Logan.
We have an episode on this one as well. Go and check it out. It's the beginning of the year. We've had time to sit on it. We've seen it again.
Yeah.
Woo!
I am just so pleased to finally see a character-driven superhero comic story.
Yeah, that's a good distinction.
Wolverine was one of my favorites as a child. Wolverine was one of the characters that made me love the X-Men. And when I grew up, Logan didn't. And he became ridiculous in the comics at one point. Like, there was a point in the comics where if an atom of Logan still existed, he could heal and return himself. And it made me so angry. Because he had been flanderized. He became... It's where you take one thing about a character and blow it up out of proportion. That's what the trope's called. And it seemed like he had become the fanboy version of Logan and not the character that I had loved at all. And the comic that this is quote-unquote based off of, Old Man Logan, is everything that I have ever hated about anyone that's written Wolverine. Most people that have written Wolverine within the last few years. It was just a fan wank, and I could not stand that book at all. This movie is the story that should have been. You get old Logan, because Logan was a crazy Canadian furball that murdered people. And in this movie, you get old, regretful, former murderous maniac Logan trying to live his life and take care of his quote-unquote father figure, and I love the relationship between the two of them because it's not Scott and Charles, and I feel like this adds so much weight to that. I would love to see somebody do Cyclops right, because he's never done right, and it makes me super angry because I love Cyclops. But Logan and Charles together in this scenario was so beautiful because you got the bad son trying to help the aging, dying father. Professor X, Patrick Stewart's one of his best performances. I loved him in this movie.
This movie is thrilling, violent, heartbreaking.
It is
thought-provoking.
It is everything that should be done with a rated R film. It's when they slapped that R on it, I was like, oh great, gratuitous blood, too much swearing. We're gonna, because everything that's led up to this has been that.
Yeah, and the R rating literally just kind of like it made the viewer just when you see how violent putting claws through a man's face is,
it's so visceral and true.
It makes you feel what like the violence and all the killing is wearing down on them. Yeah, you know. Yeah, like I said, it's
emotional.
Yeah, it's emotional. It's thrilling. It's violent.
I teared up several times during this movie, dude.
Heartbreaking.
It is everything that I love about comics, where you get stories about people that have superpowers. Yeah. And that's what I mean when I say superhero comic book movie. I know,
that's why I said it's a good distinction, because a comic book movie could just be about fucking anything.
Yeah.
As if it was a comic book. But this is a man who has superpowers, a few people have superpowers, and that really just sets the scene. Mm-hmm. And it is part of the character. Mm-hmm. But the movie is about characters. It's about relationships.
Yeah, it's people with superpowers, not superpowers with people.
It's about mortality. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, it's just
about legacy.
Yeah, it's just in a setting of the
the most comic booky it goes is evil clone Wolverine.
Yeah,
and I love how easily cast aside the villain type of thing is. Yeah. It's so unceremonious and so fast. It doesn't matter. What matters is Logan and X-23.
Yeah, exactly. And but even with evil clone fucking Wolverine, it still had a purpose. It was,
well, there's a reason that he's a lot younger and more untamed.
Yeah, it was just oh look, you're fucking old, and here's a painful reminder.
Yeah, of everything that you were.
Yeah.
And it's there's so much that I love about the movie. It's Charles telling him what a disappointment he was. And it made me think about the way that the movies were done with Wolverine. They never got into the comics aspect where Charles was trying to tame him and calm him down, and that's why Logan came there, because he didn't want to be what he was. They used him in the movies. They used him as a tool, and it's in the comics. He knew what he was good at, and unfortunately, he took the mantle up of what it was. He didn't want to, but he didn't want anybody else to have to bear that weight. Logan's a great character when he's written well. Rick Remender, Frank Miller, beautiful writers on his character. Joss Whedon did a good job. Garth Ennis did a good job. Not Garth Ennis. Grant Morrison did a great job. Scott Lobdell, not Scott Lobdell. Chris Claremont, his creator, fantastically written. But when he's written bad, they did what they did with Deadpool for him. They did eventually in the comics. They stripped everything deep about his character away.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see a return to that in this movie and a celebration of it. And it was just, like I said, everything I love about comics. Characters, people.
Yeah.
Brilliant story. I loved that movie.
It was a character drama, man. But he also has claws.
Yeah.
It was fucking brilliant.
Sorry to gush again. I know I did it in the review.
Yeah,
but
go listen to the review. No, it's any other year.
Yeah,
it would have been a number 1 for sure.
Yes,
and it's actually my number 3. So
yeah, what was your number 2?
Number 2, my man, Baby Driver. That's why I said, dude, you got a serious snub going, man.
I meant to put Baby Driver in my honorable mentions.
No top 5.
Shit, I should have fucking bumped Kingsman 2 out for that. God damn it. I loved that movie. What the fuck is wrong with me?
I don't know, but that's...
I apologize, too. Like, I'm still like, I got a stuffy nose.
Oh, you'll be all right. The listeners can deal with it.
All right.
Fucking... Baby Driver. Let me talk about this movie. I think this is an episode that I was just like, hey, we need to get this out of the way, and it was really quick and
that's a Kevin Spacey movie.
Yeah. Ooh. And no one
that's why it wasn't in my top 5.
Yeah. Hey, dude, me too.
Hashtag me too.
So, God, what a terrible thing to joke about.
We're awful people.
But,
I feel bad now.
I know, whatever, fuck it. So, when it came to hype, Josh, there was 2 movies this year. It was Star Wars The Last Jedi and Baby Driver. I had so much hype for Baby Driver, and
you got me into that movie.
And it fucking delivered, my man.
On every level.
There are 1 or 2 things I don't like about the movie. Everything else about it is just fucking perfection.
Killer soundtrack.
Great soundtrack mixed with visuals. Dude, great care went into
gunfights to drum beats.
Yeah, everything had to be
car noises,
pre-planned and perfectly orchestrated. And, sure, there's not a whole lot of character in the movie as far as characters.
Doesn't need to be.
But
it's not that type of movie.
For what it's trying to do,
it succeeds.
It's fucking great. The relation...
Edgar Wright's best movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Hands down.
For sure. And that's it's hard for me to say that because I love Scott Pilgrim so much.
Oh, yeah. Well, I loved
Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz is my favorite. My favorite, dude. It still is. But Baby Driver is just, oh god,
just so much love and care went into this.
I love the music in that movie.
He made exactly the movie he wanted to make. There's some missteps, I think, with a couple, the old timey Hollywood feel of the relationship between what's her face and Baby.
See, I liked that because I felt like that was more of in his mind.
Yeah.
Like we were getting his ideal a type of interaction. Like
Yeah,
everything else is so scummy and gritty and real.
Yeah,
and then
that's
you
true.
get this ideal. I met her in a diner.
It just the dialogue felt.
It needed to
heightened, or I
yeah,
don't know.
no, I get what you mean.
It.
It needed to be maybe a little more dream sequency.
But near the end when they were together.
Yeah, like when he walks out and she's leaning on the classic car and everything, and she's all 50'd up and everything. Like you get that this is his fantasy.
But just and the visual Easter eggs, and like I said, there's just so much care put into this movie.
Yeah.
Realistic all practical chase scenes and fucking the music choices. It's just you sit and you watch it and it's like filmmaking gold mixed with fun action, mixed with a bit of comedy here and there, mixed with people just giving amazing performances.
Well done, subtle comedy.
Yeah,
very well done. The comedy is very well managed in that movie.
And then just people giving amazing performances like
Jamie Foxx,
Jamie
who
Foxx.
I haven't enjoyed in a long time. I loved him in this movie.
Not a fan of John Hamm. He did a great job.
Yeah.
Really good. Kevin Spacey was fine.
Flea does a great job.
Yeah, for sure.
Flea has one of the
henchmen are all super funny. You know what I mean? They weren't really henchmen, but whatever.
Flea, John Barenthal.
Yeah.
I don't know the guy's name. The Asian Asian dude. Yeah.
The guy who had hat tattooed on him. I don't know.
Yeah, the guy who had hat tattooed on him.
It has heart, and it has like a passion project written all fucking over it.
Yeah, this was a labor of love.
Like he's been planning this movie since seriously like the early '90s when he made like a music video that mirrors one of the early shots in this, and it was
But I think I saw a shot somewhere where him and Simon Pegg were supposedly working on it together. They were doing like a tossing ideas back and forth, I guess, back in the day. During Shaun of the Dead, I guess.
Okay. And like the movie started and like I was really hyped for it and I had high expectations, and then it was not what I was expecting, and it was like better. Like I was not like when the music was kicking in, and I'm just like, okay.
It's crazy because it didn't meet expectation. Yeah, I was the same way. It didn't meet my expectations. It changed them and exceeded them.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, would have been my number one. It was very, very close.
Another one, another one in a year. God, dude, I feel real bad that I didn't top 5 or honorable mention it, dude. For some odd reason, I spaced on it.
Major snub. Major snub.
I feel like a piece of shit. I'm not even going to talk.
It's because of Kevin Spacey.
I'm just gonna, it was because of Kevin Spacey. That's what it was.
It's your political.
It was
protest.
My political protest. I'm wearing black.
While putting number 3 a Harvey Weinstein film. So shut up. Forget. He's not involved.
Ignore my hypocrisy.
He's not involved in the Weinstein company anymore. He got kicked out of his own damn company.
Yeah.
So that brings us to number 1, and we'll just be straight up about it. It's the same for both of us.
Yes, exactly. Blade Runner
2049.
Yep.
Holy moly.
The best movie I saw all year.
Did you ever get around to watching it again?
I did not get a second viewing. Okay. Wanted to do it today. Had other shit to do.
I cut out an explanation from our review of why it was such a bad initial viewing.
Yeah, because we were kind of cruel.
We were. But
we were really angry.
But there was some theater nonsense happening, and that really had an effect on coming out of the theater.
Yeah, you pay the price when you go to a midday showing, and like the theater is just slowly but surely becoming the less ideal place to watch anything.
True.
I say that loving going to the theater.
Yeah. And I haven't had a bad time since then.
No.
But but the more you thought about the movie and it stuck with you and you thought about it, like that thing in the back of your mind that was pissing you off the whole time in the theater just faded away. I saw it again a couple weeks ago, and holy shit, does a 3-hour movie fucking fly by and just make me like fucking awestruck and just like fucking sucked into that movie. It is slow, it is boring, and it is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Everything builds. Everything matters.
Everything matters. Everything matters. Talk about tight scripts.
Yes.
Tight as fuck.
Well, Ridley Scott wrote most of it.
Oh, yeah, that's what I heard.
Of course.
Yeah,
but, I mean, he's not credited.
Yeah.
But, of course, but he wrote all of it.
Such an asshole, dude.
Dumbass.
I really think I am so excited for the more non-comic book, space opera-y sci-fi going forward after this. And I feel like a lot of it rests on with this Denis character.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought Neil Blomkamp was going to be that guy. He can't put down the bludgeoning stick.
Yeah.
Arrival was a misfire for me. This movie delivered in every way possible. Ryan Gosling gives probably his best performance I've ever seen. Harrison Ford is fantastic.
Yep.
Jared Leto, who I hate, is an amazing villain.
Oh, yeah.
I really, really, really love Wallace.
Yep. Wallace
is narcissism and God complex just personified. This man is insane.
Yes.
And I loved him. He was fantastic. He really believes he is a god.
Yeah.
And you get that without
And
him ever...
personally responsible for the advancement of the human race.
Yeah. Yeah.
The dude is insane.
Yeah. He is a fantastic character. And like, as I said it in our review of it, it is such a lonely film.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You really feel for Kay.
Yeah.
The whole time. He's by himself. Nothing is real. It's
Nope.
all a lie.
Yeah.
And he is all alone.
And even when he starts discovering things and it freaks him out, in the end, that's also just stripped away from him.
Yeah. Oh, God. Robin Wright.
Yes.
Fantastic. She was so... I feel a little underutilized, but on the same hand, like, her character serves a purpose,
yeah.
And she excels at it. She was fantastic.
Her few scenes with him and her scene with Joy, was it? No.
Love.
Joy
It was Love.
With Love, it's just like, beautiful.
Yeah. Dude, and Love, another fantastic villain.
She's terrifying.
She is horrifying.
Yeah.
And so dedicated.
Yeah.
She is one of the scariest villains I've ever seen on screen. She scares the shit out of me. Surprise performance, again, another one I got to talk about. Batista, man.
Yeah.
He is fantastic in that movie. He is very subdued. I loved him. Everything about this movie, it's just visually so satisfying on every level. Set design, fantastic. Costuming, fantastic. CGI, fantastic.
Yep.
Because it's not glaring and gross and cartoonish.
No.
It looks like it defines special effects.
Yeah.
The violence, again, like we were saying with Logan, so brutal and visceral and true. And there is one scene in particular where you see what a replicant is capable of doing to a human.
Yeah.
And it is scary. It's impressive and cool, but at the same time, very scary. Sound design is amazing. Particularly what stands out to me, I talked about it in the original review. I keep talking to you about it off record. The guns, everything.
Yeah.
Is so, whenever they fire a gun, it is loud and it's frightening.
Yeah.
It's pow, 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 and it's just, it shakes you.
Mm-hmm. It's just the best.
It's such a good movie.
It is.
I love.
It's damn near. It's as close to perfect as you can get. Nothing's perfect, Josh.
The long journey through San Diego to the orphanage.
Yeah.
Is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I loved it, dude. It does a better job of asking the questions of what is humanity and what is it to be human.
Yeah, and
than the original did.
And what a Blade Runner does.
Yeah.
As well, instead of just being like, oh, I'll go do this now. Because, like, Blade Runner is awesome.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
He
I
doesn't
also don't know
detect.
how he found anybody.
No.
He just kind of shows up at that one girl's dressing room,
Yeah,
right?
well, no.
Or no, he
because,
had, like, a
he had the
matchbook or something.
he had the snake scales.
Oh, that's right. He took it to the,
The only bit of detective work that he does in the entire film.
Yeah.
This movie, K/Joe follows clues to their end every time. He solves a mystery.
Yeah.
And it goes from there. Yeah, man.
For having, and like, this is just like the filmmaking nerd, like I was talking about with Baby Driver, where I'm kind of like, dude, the planning and the love and care put into, like, the fact that every shot is like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, especially when there's a lot of practical, digital, and like a lot of effects involved, like, for... you can't just like think of something on the set and like get it done. You can, but like this had to like
the fog in the intro scene where the cruiser comes out of it and all you see is the lights and then it's slowly coming and he's walking out of it. It's so scary. It's so creepy. It's so mysterious, dude. It's like Drive, where everything feels like it was just meticulously planned, and it feels like they didn't put it up until it was right.
Yeah, everything in Vegas was great.
Oh god, Vegas is beautiful.
Yeah.
I love what they did there.
Yeah, man. Like, there's practical sets and stuff like that, but like, fucking, I'm talking about, like, dude, you got this huge, I know it's just color grading and a couple green screens.
The fog is fake and all
a couple of green
but...
screens or whatever, but just like I said, the fact that you can make every scene, you're not bored, you have something to look at, like, every bit of dialogue, and there's not too much of it, is...
No, everybody is doing the best subtle performances I've seen in a long time. Everybody is doing that show don't tell type of dialogue and facial expressions. A lot is told with facial expressions.
Yep.
One of my favorite parts is when he gets back after he retires Batista. When he's walking through, you've just seen him be a cocky badass. This guy rules. He's walking down the hallway of the police department, just ducking and like being a coward in front of these humans, and he can break all of them. He's afraid of them. Mm-hmm. And then you see another juxtaposition with that when he's walking to his hotel room, just taking the insults. Somebody spits on him on his way up to his hotel room. His hotel, not his hotel room, his apartment is spray painted, get the hell out or whatever the hell. And he walks in, and it's just... Gosling is so great in the movie, dude. He really... And Love is great.
But there's also...
I don't know who she is.
Yeah, I don't know either. But on top of that, like, you get him, kind of being like, but then at the same time, he closes his door. There's still a robotic feeling because it's like he closes the door to his apartment and he's just like, whatever, and just like goes on.
No, and then you get a fourth where he's just at home, Joe, and he's gonna put his feet up, and it's. He literally just lights up a cigarette. She's making a stew or whatever, and he puts his feet up. And he's just...
Well, he puts the soup on because her shit's not real.
That's right, yeah.
And then she puts down the fake hologramic hamburger, and he's like, thanks.
Yeah.
Or, you want me to pour you a drink? And then he just drinks both.
Yeah, he just pours her a drink and pours him a... But it's it is that almost 50s type of man coming home from work type of feel. He's putting his feet up, and she's like, "Oh, darling, how was work today?"
Yeah, it's like he's unfazed, but that's kind of weird and robotic. But then he immediately transitions into a fantasy that he's created for himself, which is one of the best parts of the movie. Is his relationship.
Him and Joy is
and what that means
is
to
beautiful.
Him, especially with the only other relationship he really has is with Madam.
Yeah.
And then,
and it's weird because the reality of that relationship is almost presented to him when she comes and visits him.
Yeah.
Like the chance that what he has created could be real and he can't do it. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It's a very complicated movie.
Yeah. It's
beautiful.
Just the best.
It's just a delight.
It's just the best.
Yeah, like we sound like we're being smartasses about it when we do that, but it's
just because like
no way
I couldn't stop saying that after I watched it again.
Yeah, he did. He
I'd
kept saying
something,
it's a delight. It's the best. It's wonderful.
There's just I mean like because it's a 3-hour long movie.
Yeah.
And every single last bit of it I enjoy and am enthralled and love looking at, and it's just fucking amazing, man. Nobody saw it.
Nobody watched it.
Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. It's that.
And this isn't an indie movie. It's not like, man, this indie movie nobody heard of is the best movie this year.
This was a blockbuster.
And, this was a major fucking blockbuster based on an IP that, again, is old and didn't do well in the first place.
Didn't do well in the first place, yeah.
It's a cult movie, but...
Yeah, dude. I'm hoping that this gets the same treatment, dude. Once it hits Blu-ray and everything, dude.
But yeah, Denis Villeneuve.
I really am looking forward to seeing him come forward, dude.
That man deserves some respect.
Yeah, dude. I can't wait to see more from him, dude. There are rumors that he's doing a Dune, and I am absolutely fascinated by the idea now. I cannot wait to see what he would do with Dune if he is in fact doing it.
Yeah.
I would love to watch that.
Yeah. Whew. I know. It's crazy. That
yeah.
I was not, and that's the other thing. Like we kept talking about like we've talked about it. If you listen to any of our episodes to the end, I'm sure you've heard us say a million times, like, we got more coming up this year. Like, oh yeah, Blade Runner's coming out, right? When does that come out? I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. It'll come out, and then it's like it got close, and I was like, cool, man, we can go check it out.
Yeah.
Was not fucking I don't know what I was fucking expecting.
I don't know what dude, I was nervous about it, so I didn't want to talk about it very much because they weren't talking about plot. They just kept announcing star power, and I was like, God, every time they do this, the movie sucks. And I was very, very nervous going forward with that, because I was just like, I don't know if I want to see it. They're just like, Robin Wright signed up, and I was like, but what's it about?
Yeah.
And then they were like, Jared Leto, and I was like, I'm fucking not seeing it. So I was just like, he was one of the things that sucked about Suicide Squad.
Yes, that's true.
I hated him before that. But, yeah, no, dude, he blew me away in that movie. Everything about that movie just blew me away, dude. I was, in spite of our terrible theater-going experience, I was still on the edge of my seat, enthralled by everything I saw, like you said.
It's even better watching it at home.
I begged people to watch that movie, dude. Like
I've been telling everybody.
Like a little wiener. I begged people to please, you have to go.
You have to go.
It's the greatest movie.
Yeah, I successfully got some people to see Baby Driver. When it came to this film, I don't think anybody's fucking seen it.
No.
Besides us. So
no, and it's I get it, and I warned everybody. I was like, it's long and it's boring, but it's the most beautiful film I've ever watched.
Yeah,
it's
and
so
we mean
great.
boring in a different.
Yeah.
There's no explosions every 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's not a lot of gun
I think there's
fights.
like 2. I think there is actually 2 explosions. Though.
There is.
So
there is. And they're both in Vegas, if I recall.
Yeah, actually, there's a few explosions. So there's one in Vegas, and then there's 2 over going to LAX, Josh, which is apparently in the middle of the ocean now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, it's a spaceport. I don't fucking know.
It's like a space elevator, I thought, to the spaceport.
Anyway. Could be. I don't know.
Cyberpunk.
And again, good performances from everybody. I liked Harrison Ford in The Force Awakens, and in this movie, he cares even more.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because I know that he didn't like Ridley Scott. It didn't
Almost
care for,
punched him in the face.
Didn't care for Sean Young in the original.
Yeah.
And the fact that he came back and then was like so gung ho and did one of his best performances in recent memory.
Yeah. Definitely.
Crazy. So the number one best movie of 2017 is a unanimous vote for Blade Runner 2049.
Yay!
If Denis or anybody from Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers do this, wants to contact us for their plaque, they can feel free to do that.
Yeah.
They can hit us up at Mighty Fish Pod on Twitter, or they can hit us up at mightyfishpodcast@gmail.com if you have more to say than a tweet.
Yeah.
Or you don't tweet.
Yeah.
You can also leave a comment on a YouTube video or on SoundCloud itself. But we're also available on all major podcasting apps, wherever you may get those. And we will be back as soon as there's something to watch. Or maybe before that, because as I said, I have a few ideas. So,
yeah.
And so does Josh. The man's full of ideas.
Oh, I'm just a.
That wasn't sarcastic. It was meant kind of as a joke, but also.
I know. Well, I was trying to think of a word, and I lost my brain, dude.
So
I'm all on NyQuil right now.
I hope you enjoyed this one. It was our best year. I mean, we haven't been doing it that long, but 2017 was our best year. We put out the most shit.
Yeah.
This was a lot better than our 2016 roundup.
Yes.
And what a fucking movie Blade Runner is. So go and see it.
Please. It is available for digital. It comes out on probably Blu-ray on the 26th?
No, it'll be out this Tuesday.
So, this Tuesday, okay.
So whenever you're listening to this, it's probably already out or will be out tomorrow.
Please check it out. Please. Watch most of these movies.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe not...
Even the worst.
Maybe not some of the worst.
Maybe not Ghost in the Shell or Pirates.
Yeah, or Pirates. Or Colossal. Everything else... Fuck it. Your time's not valuable.
What else are you doing?
You work at Denny's. We're never going to get flooded.
You're listening to our podcast. You have plenty of time.
Yeah, exactly. What are you doing with your life? Anyway, it's been awesome. I am Ryan.
I'm still Josh.
And we will catch you next time.
Thank you.
Oh
Jesus
my God.
Christ.
Woo.